want to also welcome everybody who's beaming in to hear today about things that make you go, hmm. And this was a concept that I first heard about from Jane. And so I have a couple of questions. This is something that's influenced her life. Now, from what I've heard, it's really interesting. So my first question is, when did you first encounter the framework?
Well, when I was studying for my master's in teaching English to young learners, and doing lots of reading, as you do, and I was introduced to this book, which is The Primary English Teacher's Guide, and by Brewster, Ellis and Jewett. So it's in there, and they reference Leeds University as part of talking about this as the initial teacher training, and a format for teaching younger learners. So the MMM stands for meet, manipulate, make it your own. And when you read something and it just kind of makes you go, that makes perfect sense. And I really liked how it all made language learning better for young learners. So it's similar to your PPP, that traditional present, practice, produce, CELTA sort of style. But I think it's much more child friendly, not just child friendly, human friendly. It's humanistic. So the idea that you meet or encounter language somehow, it's not presented to you. You can meet it in a game or an experience or a story or a song. Meeting language, and that happens. And then you get to look at it in more detail and adapt it and change it and manipulate it. And you're giving them opportunities to do that. But I think is the make it your own stage, where you want to give them that sense of belonging in terms of the language, so they've got it and they can use it. Lessons finished, they're walking out the door and it's theirs. It's their
part of them, yeah. I love that other facet that you brought in now with the idea of meeting, because in presenting could just be a one-way thing, but meeting is two parties coming to the table, and so it's more alive, and the student or whoever is encountering this thing for the first time is more active.
Being active in the meeting. It's not something that's just happening to you.
Yeah.
You are involved in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how have you found, like, after you saw that and it went ping for you, did it go ping because you'd already seen this in action? And then how did it follow through afterwards? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen it in my own teaching, and it sort of just made me pinpoint. Yes, I do that. So when I first started teaching 30 or plus years ago, the idea was that you'd save all of the games and the fun activities
For after.
the lesson. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it can be the other way around. Why save that
Yeah.
debating? That could be a way of introducing the language, get a chance to meet it, and then you're playing with it, and they're much more likely to have it by the time you get to that to the fun activity. But it's like that. I kind of feel that the way I've taken it now is that it's not just about language learning. I think this can be applied to content learning as well. Subject
For
teachers,
sure.
they need to make sure that the learners are meeting the content of the lesson, whatever subject it is, whether it's chemistry or math. The students have to have something with it and do something with it, manipulate somehow, and then have this real ownership of it in order to fully understand it and be able to use it. So it should be applied in all these different contexts.
Yeah.
And
I want to.
then,
Oh, okay. Can I, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to come to the word manipulate, because usually in the context that we hear this word nowadays, it's usually got a negative connotation. Because obviously
yeah,
you hear about people being manipulative, and that doesn't usually mean something good. So I just want us to look at what does it mean in this context where it's actually a neutral thing, but with a positive benefit.
yeah. It means adapting and changing and working with it.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
I think it's only when you start thinking about a person doing this to somebody else that it
Yeah.
then has the negative connotation.
Yes.
But doing it all the time,
Mhm.
you know, I think we meet ideas in life and hobbies like we were just talking about,
Mm.
and it's about manipulating them to suit your own style.
Yes.
So we could take the idea of crochet because that's
Mhm.
kind of one of
Can,
my
can we
passions.
see? I had the privilege of meeting Bear Mouse just before just before we started speaking. Here's Bear Mouse.
So I started crocheting. It wasn't, you know, it was only about 14 years ago, 15 years ago that I picked up a crochet hook and started crocheting. And I would follow patterns, but now I
Mm.
can just do a free flow. So I've made it my own. Everybody kind of
Mhm.
knows I'm a crocheter and can create
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Well, the next one, yeah, I'll do that. Da, da, da. Can you make me a Christmas decoration? Yeah, I'll do that. Da, 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 da. It
Yeah.
just, you know, and so that's me taking this skill, meeting it, and I met it in a
Mhm.
magazine, went and bought some yarn and a hook, followed everything and learned how to do it. But I've made it, I've manipulated it to create what I want it to be, and
Mhm.
feel like I'm really
So
good at
it's,
my own.
yeah, so it's also like, oh my gosh, we've got there's so much we can talk about here. But so basically at the beginning, you you mentioned earlier that you used patterns. So during the first phase of meeting crochet, in this case, you were working with patterns, but finally you started manipulating and then making your own things. For example,
Create
bear mouse.
just doing it without a pattern, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and I
I
think
think that's something that's so. I think that's something that teachers. I know for sure that I've experienced bad teaching practices where teachers wouldn't allow their students to go outside of the pattern. The
yes,
pattern then was what's right, and not anything that's not the pattern is incorrect.
yes.
Whereas, and then applying that to language. Here are the grammar rules. Here's the vocabulary. You should use the vocabulary in this sentence. And a person could make their own sentence which uses all of that perfectly, but it's
Mhm.
not the model answer. So, no, it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so, what I'd like to ask in this terms is how does this model help language learners? That's
I
how does
missed the
this
end of
model,
the question.
how does the MMM model help language learners? Let's say, in contrast to that previous way of, I'm the teacher, I have the answers. If you don't give me exactly the answers that I tell you, it's wrong.
Yeah,
Let's look at
I think
how. Mhm.
the biggest thing is it gives the lesson to the learners. It's their lesson. We don't
Mhm.
want it to be our lesson as the teachers. We want it to be theirs. And by giving them the opportunities to meet and encounter the language and to play with it and do it, it becomes their lesson, and therefore
Mhm.
it becomes their language.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I think this framework, so we call it a framework because I think it can be applied across many different areas,
Definitely.
including
Mhm.
teacher training. So the teacher
Mhm.
training I'm doing now, all of my courses that I create, all of the sessions, they will start off with an idea where they're meeting it, meeting the whether it's an activity or a suggestion or just a theory, they're then adapting it to fit their individual teaching situation. So
Yeah.
whether they're children or adults or or teenagers, they still have to adapt it to their situation and their
Yes.
specific classes.
Yes.
And once they've tried it a few times, it becomes automatic. So they've
Mm.
made it their own, and they then might share it with another teacher, say, "Oh, have you tried doing this?" So
Mhm.
it could,
Yes.
so I think that's quite an important part in teacher training as well.
Definitely. And that's
Um,
something that you do, don't you? That's part of your business is to
yeah,
do teacher training, or is that
yeah.
how like how have you found people's reactions when you've been doing teacher training to the MMM framework?
So many people who have completed the courses that I've done, and I really sort of talk about it at the end. I'll say, okay, if you realise we've just done this, we've met this idea, I've given you the
Mhm.
opportunity to change it, and now you need to take it in the classroom to make it your own. And
Mhm.
they're all just but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
It's like the cogs have suddenly started fitting together,
yeah.
and see how valuable it is. Just having that little
Mm.
bit of thought about it, that makes them
Well,
there are.
I think it makes it alive for the teacher as well, because then actually how boring if you're always going to the pattern, and if your students can only give you back the pattern, you're going to like your life is eventually so boring. Whereas if the students can make something new out of it, you never know where it's going. And that's alive then, which language is alive. It's a continually changing thing.
Absolutely.
Ah, I really love this concept.
Yeah.
I want to
I
ask you.
even
Hmm?
oh,
Oh, we've got a bit of a delay, so we keep interrupting. No, please carry on.
I've put together a little kind of session on meeting the
Yes.
MMM framework, which you can find on my website, and also on my YouTube channel, which you can
Mm-hmm.
find at Enriching ELT. And there's one about just how to start a lesson. And within the
Mm-hmm.
first 3 minutes, so recapping what you did the lesson before, and within those first 3 minutes, you can actually say, this is a very mini MMM. We've got to re-meet what they did last
Mm,
lesson, re-manipulate it just to bring it all back to the front of the brain, and and then produce something, do something with it that
mhm.
reminds them, yes, that they've got this language. So we can do sort of mini MMM within an MMM.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, sometimes things, because of the nature of it being so alive, and because of unexpected things then surfacing, that could lead to a whole other branch of learning. And I think that's so valuable when there is that freedom, so that students, we couldn't have prepared for it, but actually it's students are interested in it because it's more relevant to them. It's their need. They either are needs motivated or
Mhm.
they are interest motivated. And that is
Yes,
a much better way for someone to make it their own.
yes, yeah, to have, yeah, and
Well,
have that
thank you.
possession.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's such an inspiring topic, and as you see, I haven't actually, because it's been a while since I've been on a live name, but I've experienced the phenomenon of it as well. And we've both experienced it in very exciting ways that have had an impact on the rest of our lives. And so we'll be continuing in the series soon. So watch out for our upcoming talks on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you so much,
Thank
Bear
you.
Mouse. It was very nice meeting you both of them today. And to everyone, I wish you a happy weekend and see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.